Oh, yes, I can. You're not my daddy. You're not my dad. Before we begin the show today, make sure you guys do check out Buzz TV's stuff. They have tons of good stuff, and they had some sales. It's funny. I just threw on the Buzz TV shirt, not on purpose.
And if you're watching the video, Rojas is feeling himself.
Yeah, that's right. The Buzz TV.
He's like, ooh, Buzz TV.
Buzz
Get
TV.
buzzed. Buzz TV is awesome. They got some really cool stuff, man. They got honestly, they got devices priced for every person. Lately, we've been talking a lot about the 4900, but the Firesticks are actually competitively priced in the market and offer a lot of good bang for your buck. So don't always look as, I have to get the 4900. No, the 4900 is for a specific audience. If you're looking to take that storage to the next level, if you're looking to do certain things with the devices, you want the latest and greatest. But doesn't mean that the Firesticks aren't capable of handling anything you throw at it either. So check those devices out as well.
Yeah. Now, I know this episode is going to be talking about Android streaming boxes. People are always wondering, how do we get our stream boxes? Like, what is it that we're looking for? And I didn't prepare Next Level at all. So this is going to be fun. This is going to be very fun because, he don't like to give straight answers.
No, I don't. I don't like to give straight answers.
So we just gave out the pitch for Buzz. Make sure you guys do check it out. We really do believe in their products. We do use them. So that's why we always throw it out there in the beginning. Make sure you guys check it out. So let's go ahead and get a couple things out of the way. We are in July of 2021. So if you're watching this later on in the year, things might have changed a little bit. Don't get your panties in a wad. Here we go. And it goes. I have to choose my character.
Rohan.
Rohan.
The next level.
Oh man. So is the NVIDIA Shield worth it in 2021 when you have so many other devices that are staying updated? Now, keep in mind, the last time we saw the Shield was a year ago, but it wasn't really an update since their 2017 model. Their 2015 was the best with 500 gigs and it had tons of power. A lot of people that have that device still have that device and say, dude, this thing was just a beast. 2017 came out and was a huge step backwards. And then they didn't really do anything in 2019 besides change a remote and came out with that ugly stick that throws up on both ends. So, this is going to be rapid fire. This isn't going to be like we're going to dive deep into everything on it. It's pretty much just what are our thoughts on stuff. So the first thing is NVIDIA Shield.
Before we can even get into that, I feel like I need to clear the palate. And for myself, you'll notice that a lot of we had this discussion before we jumped in here. And I said, it's very difficult for me to answer yes or no to certain devices. And you're like, no, you specifically, what do you think about these devices? Will you pick it? So I'm like, okay, I'm going to step away from trying to recommend the best device for every single person and just go with what I like about the devices and if I'll pick it. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I will tell everybody that I've never owned a paid service, Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu. I have Amazon Prime, but I've never used it. Yeah, that sounds crazy, right? I only use it for the shipping discounts. I've never used it for the videos. So that's going to be my groundwork for how you hear me answering all the questions that are coming up for these boxes.
Proceed.
NVIDIA Shield. Like in general, a specific one, all of them.
Just the last one that we're at.
So there was two. There was the Pro and there was the Pringles can or Stogie or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I'll start with the Pro. So the Pro is a no for me because it is the 2017 that's just rebranded with a software overclock. It has seen some issues with the software overclock, I've heard, but I'm not 100%. I'm not a huge Shield guy because I don't really care for GeForce Now. Now, if I was big on GeForce Now, maybe that would be different, but I'm not a huge gamer as well. I do have my Xbox, and I prefer to do my gaming on my Xbox. And in most cases, people who recommend the Shield, they say it's an overkill unless you're a gamer. Well, shit, I'm not a gamer, so it's not really what I'm looking for. It is a licensed device. If I was looking for the best licensed device, I'm still not sure if I would go with the NVIDIA Shield. So right now, I'm going to say no for the Pro. For the other device, I'm still going to go with no because in our previous podcast, I talked about aesthetics. If I'm going to spend a certain amount of money on it, I want to make sure that it looks good, it runs good, makes me feel good about my purchase. And I'm going to go with no for that one as well. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not telling you guys not to buy these devices. Personal opinions, I don't buy them. I have the NVIDIA Shield in the box, never even cracked it open. Just saying. So I could be biased because I haven't opened that one. I've used NVIDIA Shields in the past. I know what they're like. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but I believe that for value and for what I do, I don't need to spend that kind of money.
It's funny, you're like no for the Pro and no for the Pro.
And the non-pro, the thingamajigger.
So I will have to say with me, I would definitely not go with the Pro with anything that they did last year because it just wasn't just a hot mess, man. I still got my original one, my 2015, and I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it. I didn't need to upgrade, so I'm good. All the new stuff. So I know we got to talk about the new stuff. You know, I want to be sure people know I do have a Shield, just the older one. Never upgraded it because I tested them and I just gave them away or sold them. I'm like, nah, I'm good with my old one. So the next ones are I really do want to talk about Amazon products. And I know there is so many options to choose from, and it's really hard to. Real quick on Netflix, on the Shield, just so you know what's going to be compatible or not, because it does have the official Android TV, the official Google Play Store, and they have an extra certification from Netflix. You don't get 4K Netflix unless Netflix says it's okay. Just keep in mind, you could be official Android TV, but you won't get 4K Netflix unless Netflix says it's okay.
And we've seen that on some of the MeCool devices, haven't we?
Yeah.
Right. And I think from our interview that we did with some of the guys from Buzz TV, they said you have to sell a certain amount of devices for them to even have this conversation with you.
Right. So as far as the Shield goes, they have Netflix in 4K, Hulu, Disney Plus, everything else will be in 4K. Everything else you'll be able to get. It's kind of hard to say you get the 4K app. You're gonna get the max capabilities of quality for that app. So just keep in mind, if you're like, hey, do I have the full version of this? Yes, it's not a mobile version, it's the full version. Keep that in mind. Now for Amazon, I wanted to talk Amazon. They got your Fire Stick Lite, they got the 3rd gen Fire Stick, the 4K Fire Stick, and the Fire Cube. And again, I know it's hard to keep these combos like this when we're talking about so many devices, and we've done videos on this before. To shorten it up on my end, before I ask nxtlvl any of this stuff, the Fire Cube is great. The 2nd gen works great. I think the Fire Stick Lite and the 3rd gen Fire Stick are they're just as smooth, if not smoother, than the 4K Fire Stick. The 4K Fire Stick I wouldn't buy right now because this should be the year that they do upgrade their 4K to something else. The 2nd gen, hopefully. I would really just be treading water on the 4K Fire Stick right now because I don't know if they're going to say in October, hey, guess what? Here is the 2nd gen 4K Fire Stick. And I understand people are going to say like, well, they just dropped some sticks last year. They did. They upgraded the second gen Fire Stick to the third gen, and then they brought you a light version for the people who really want to go extra budget. But the 4K Fire Stick came out in 2019, and it's been 2 years now, so we should see something. And I think the Fire Cube also came out 2 years ago, but I would still buy the Fire Cube. And keep in mind, all these devices do have the max quality of Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, all that stuff. Even they got Peacock now. So next level, go for it. Let's see. under 3 minutes if possible.
And go. So I'm actually going to start outside of the devices that you mentioned. I'm going to start with the Fire TVs, with the actual Fire operating system built into the TVs. Originally, I was like all for them. I was like, these are great, fantastic, great value. I have one, and sometimes I find that it's just too slow for me. So I'm going to go with no now. So I've changed my opinion. The Lite, the third generation, and the Cube, if you're running non-official applications, sometimes it can have icon issues. And depending on how tech savvy that person is, it can be frustrating on some people. So as of right now, when I purchase devices that I use personally, it's still 4K Fire Sticks as of right now. Just because if I give it to a family member or a friend, I don't want to have to change a launcher or to explain, well, that broken icon is this application. So just for simplicity, I'm still going with the 4K Fire Stick. If I had to pick another device besides the 4K Fire Stick, I would definitely go with the Cube, because I do like that hands-free Alexa, Juanita. I think it's a great device, even though it only has 2 gigs of RAM and 16 gigs of onboard storage. I think that it's really optimized to work really smoothly. And I do like that as a device. I have one here. I haven't plugged it in for a while because I've been testing other devices, but I really do like the 4K and the Cube for sure. I will disagree with you in regards to a new 4K. I think that this year we're just seeing the new remote, and it might be a little bit longer until we see another device. But hey, we still got 5 months, so we don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, there's my answer. Under 3 minutes. What do you think?
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
Yeah. Okay, so I do want to throw Buzz TV in here. And Buzz TV has a big lineup of stuff that they threw out there last year. Now, the one thing is Buzz TV does not have 4K Netflix. You'll get the mobile version of Netflix, which you need an Air Mouse. I believe Hulu, Disney Plus, and all of those other apps have been fixed, so they all should be good to go. It's just the Netflix. It's just the Netflix. It is a very good. They have their Buzz app that you could put live streaming services on. Box does not come included with that. They've had so far this year in 2021 the most updated in chipset and GPU, CPU, like power, like everything on that, on benchmarks, on everything. They destroy everybody because they have all the new stuff right now. So with Buzz TV, it kind of, so I'm gonna name well, you know what? I'll name all the devices that they have right now. I'm not gonna say what is good for every single one of them, but this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna say how to choose it. It really depends on what you're looking for. So they have the essentials lineup. They have the E1, the E2. They have your 4500 series, the XR 4500, XRS 4500, and the XRS 4500 Max. They have the 4900, which is their beast right now. Those are all boxes. And then they have sticks. They started to do sticks last year. So they have the VidStick, VidStick Plus, and VidStick Max. For traveling, the VidSticks are great. You could also treat them like a Fire Stick, where it's not like your main workhorse, but you could have it everywhere.
Mhm.
You're going to have to go to their website to really get into specs, but it really depends from your vid stick all the way to your boxes. If you're using it as a recording device, if it has 128 gigs, that's your recording device. If it has 16 gigs, that's not your recording device.
Right.
And yes, you could add an SD card as a slot for that. You could definitely get a cheaper one. For your essentials, the essential lineup, I know they have one that was like 8 gigs, and then they have one that has 16 gigs. Those are the ones that have like just the bare necessities.
It's
like,
the no frills line.
Yeah, this is like the stuff that you need, and you're not going to put any games on there. You're not going to put like a billion apps on there. It's just like, hey, you know what? I got my live TV, I got my Disney Plus, my Hulu. I'm good. You know, that's basically what it is. Just get what you need, basics. That's it. Once you start getting into the 4500 series, then again, you're like, hey, now I could start exploring with adding more stuff without boggling the device down.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 4900 is, you could just add storage on that thing. So that is your beast. Like you could take that for traveling, because you could have local stuff on your device.
Mm-hmm.
And because of recording.
Right.
And all the devices are great. So it really depends on what you're looking for. So it's kind of hard for me to say which one I'll choose, but they're all great, and it depends on what you're looking for.
Yeah. So if I was to basically say the same thing that you were going to say in under 3 minutes, my spiel would be, they usually come out with, like, let's say VidStick Plus, and then there's the Max. So just the basic version. If you're using the built-in applications on the device, you have more than enough power for whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to start adding additional stuff, then go with the Plus. If you're looking to do the recording, like you were saying, then go with the Max. And it goes down the line for each one. So if you're looking to travel and you're budget friendly, then for sure the VidSticks. The other device that I recommend to the average person is the 4500s. Now, the person that is like, I want balls to the wall, I don't care about price, I want every single feature under the sun, that's when I'm going to the 4900, because the 4900, it has the ability to, I have it right here actually, but it has the ability to add in these hard drives. And you could have a couple different hard drives laying around with a couple different things. You could have a hard drive with ROMs and emulators. You could have a hard drive with, movie files. You could have a hard drive with personal files. So it opens up a whole spew of new features, right? We can't really compare devices on the same playing field all the time, but this is the first device in a compact form that I've seen that you're able to really add in additional space at this level. This device I'm holding in my hand, that hard drive in there is an 8 terabyte hard drive. Like, that's absolutely insane. With blazing fast speeds, that's an SSD. So, yeah. That's where I'd go with that.
Nice. Okay. Now, here's something. A lot of people do ask us, how do you compare Buzz with Formula? Because they're very similar.
Yeah,
and these guys do go head to head. Okay, so for one, again, I hate to compare one company to the next company. So we're just going to be talking about just Formula and what would you buy, what wouldn't you buy. So Formula has one device called the GTV that runs Android, but does not have Netflix 4K. Remember, I was saying you could have Android TV and the Google Play, and it could look just like the Shield, but it needs an extra certification from Netflix. They do not have Netflix in 4K. Everything else works.
Just the same like the Buzz TV, just a different launcher.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the GTV. So that one's separate from the rest of their lineups because that one has Android TV. Just doesn't have Netflix and 4K in it, but everything works just the same. And I want to say the GTV is like 16 gigs. It's a 16x2, 16 gigs of internal memory and 2 gigs of RAM. Normally I'll say, if I say 16x2, that's what I'm talking about. internal storage, and then RAM. So that way you guys know. So their OTT lineup, this is what everybody knows them for. They have the Z8 Pro, the Z Alpha, the Z Neo. And again, it goes from the Z Pro 16x2, the Alpha 8x1, and the Neo 4x1. Now I know what you're gonna say. You're like, oh, I know you're not a fan of that Neo because 4x1, you're just like, holy crap, you need to have a little.
But that's a mag device,
right?
Like
you need
that,
to have like it's kind of like this is like your bare essentials. I think after like bloatware and stuff, it has like 2 gigs.
Yeah,
maybe,
but you're not meant. Those devices are like STB devices. You're not meant to install anything on those.
Yeah.
Like
so
nothing.
that's whatever you have on the box. That's what you get. That's what you get. Out of all of them, I think the Z8 Pro is the better one out of those 3.
Now, I do have to preface by saying I've never ever used any formula devices ever. So I don't really have much value to add in regards to that, because I've heard a lot of people say that the My TV Online 2 is a great player and they really, really like that. So I think it really does come down to the preference of the user interface. And do you really like them? But I also say that there's some great third-party players out there, like TV Mate, for instance. So if you don't like the player that's built into your box, then it's not saying that you can't install a third party, right? So
yeah. So their interface is pretty smooth. It's pretty good. I really do like their interface when you turn it on. It's very, very clean. For me, I out of those devices, for me personally, I would say the Z8 Pro. Out of that lineup, the GTV is good too. I like that interface. I have the Shield, so I'm used to that interface. But yeah, now here's the thing. When we come up, and I know you've messed with B-Link.
It's been a minute since I have. Like I said, I haven't really messed with any of those kind of boxes for like 3 years.
The only negative thing I could say about B-Link, because I know people are, I think people are now starting to understand, like, okay, with specs, RAM, what are we looking for? Because we could see 1 gig of RAM work really, really good. We could see the Fire Stick Lite and the 3rd gen doing really, really good. Yeah. So with the B-Link, without looking at the specs or anything like that, I've always had a very good experience with B-Link. I just don't care for their home screen. Their home screen's very
lackluster.
It's just I don't know. I was never really a fan of B-Link's home screen, but B-Link has always performed right. Like they've always been right underneath NVIDIA up until like 2 years ago when they started to surpass them in power and stuff. So most of B-Links, especially the GT King's a really, really good device. Runs really smooth. Everything just works. So that's my 2 cents on the B-Link.
Yeah. So B-Links for me, when I used to, long ago, I used to do a lot of live streams where I would just pull up GearBest and go through all the different devices. And I used to buy quite a few of them and play around with them. B-Link was probably my favorite. I'm not going to lie. And I understand what you're saying about the home screen, but most times I would install ATV Launcher. Most people probably know it now as Wolf Launcher, but Wolf Launcher is a fork of ATV Launcher. And it was a very clean user interface. You could put in any kind of launcher you wanted. The boxes worked really well. And the one thing that I really, really liked about B-Link is that they weren't scared to make certain changes, right? So I've purchased the B-Links that they had mini boxes with 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of onboard storage, and the box could fit in the palm of your hand, like tiny. And they worked fantastic. I gave one away at Christmas time to Canuck Mark, and he uses it, absolutely loves it. When I say they're not scared to do certain things, they came out with that G Station that had the ability to put in 2 external hard drives into it, kind of like the Buzz TV, but a lot bigger. It's not necessarily something that sits on your entertainment unit, like as clean as a simple Android box. You know what I mean? That was a much bigger device. It was using 3.5-inch hard drives, not your 2.5s like these ones are. These are more sleek. That one's a little bit different. Again, it's going for a different market, right? It was dual booting with Linux. Like if people were tinkering and like they were really into that kind of stuff, the B-Links are pretty cool. their specs are always going for that really high end. Like a lot of their high end boxes are coming with lossless sound and lossless audio. But again, you're not going to get your any kind of certifications, right? It's going to be standard Android. A lot of times, I would get a third party remote. Sometimes with the remotes with those boxes, they weren't the best. I know some of their higher end ones, you had the Bluetooth remotes, but the B-Links I do actually like. And one of my good friends that I go by still has a B-Link for the last like 5 years, and he uses that as his main box. Works fine.
Wow.
Like it's amazing when I go over because he has it in his garage, and everyone goes over for barbecues every weekend, and it's sitting there in the garage, and it through the winter, through the summer, you look at the applications on this box, and you're like, is that from 4 years ago? But the box is still kicking. It's amazing.
All right. Are you good with that? Or anything else you want to add?
Yeah, so B-Link was my favorite when I was buying those kind of no-name Android boxes. B-Link was one of my favorite ones out of there. So yeah, I'll stick with that.
Okay. So I'm going to group up a bunch right now, and I'm going to give you guys my 2 cents on this thing. And Next Level will give you his 2 cents on this thought.
Probably 3 or 4, but yeah.
Yeah. So, well, when you compare USA to CA,
Yeah.
my 2 cents is like a billion of your cents.
There you go.
So when you look at the On device, the TiVo, the Chromecast,
I see what you're doing.
with the Me Cool, I'll throw Me Cool in there. The Me Box,
I was almost going to say you can't throw Me Cool and Me Box in there, but okay.
I'll throw them in there. With all of those, well, I'm throwing Me and Me Cool because they're starting to become like a formula or like a buzz where people are starting to know a lot more about them, and they're starting to add Android TV and trying to get everything certified and all that stuff. I think a lot of companies are trying to do that now. So on TiVo, the 4K Chromecast, the Me Cool. When I look at all these boxes, because I know someone's gonna say, well, how do you compare all of those now without turning this into like another hour session? So when I look at those devices, the first thing is I have to go back to what I was talking about earlier, like specs.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that I'm getting off of those devices? I understand some of them do have Android TV, official Android TV. How does the remote look like? The Me Cool has that new Android TV remote. I think it's like the G100 or the G20 or G10, whatever it is. I don't know. Google now has their own official remotes, and we're going to start seeing anybody that's using Android TV, official Android TV, that are going to be using that exact same remote. I think I said that right, that the On and the Me Cool have the exact same thing, and it looks very similar to like a Fire Stick, like that style, and I think we're going to start seeing that more often because everyone's trying to use Android TV. So I have a feeling pretty soon we're going to see another device pop up that's using official Android TV with the official Google remote.
But I'm just going to throw this in there, but it's really interesting because TiVo recently made a statement saying that if they knew Google was going to be coming out with their own Android TV device as well, which I don't understand how they didn't assume they would, then they wouldn't have joined the market, and they're going to come out with something else with their own software and blah, 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 blah. So whatever.
Yeah. So when I look at all these devices, the first thing is I look at, because a lot of them are very similar. They'll be very similar RAM, very similar hard drive, very similar in chipset, GPU, CPU. The way something loads from cold boot to start, a lot of this stuff is going to start looking almost identical, and a lot of people might not even realize what the major difference is besides the box, the physical box or the physical remote. So this is what I look for. And I'll do this under a minute. Does it have a micro SD card slot? Is that important to me? Do I have a dedicated Ethernet, or am I running Wi-Fi? That's important to me. Is this going to be on my main TV? And if it is, I have my modem right next to my TV. So I want that sucker hardwired. I don't want to ever have issues on my main TV. I'll tell you this: issues so far this year from Wi-Fi is not because of my equipment. It's usually because their internet service is down or their server is down. Somebody's server is down. Is not me though. And I always check my stuff first before I call anybody else. Like, what the freak is this? So, and I say 99% of the time, I got to leave that 1%. But those are the stuff that's important to me. Ethernet, if I'm going to go Wi-Fi or not, depending on what room I'm in, if it's across the place where I don't have modem, am I going wireless or not? And can I extend the storage? I don't really want to add an adapter because that means I got to buy something else. I just want to slide something in there, slide it in, and I'm good. I don't want to buy an adapter to put in to buy an SD slot. Now I'm buying to extend the memory. I don't want to do that. I want to buy once and I'm good. And the last thing that I look for is the remote. Is it gonna be comfortable? Like I don't even know the other remotes over here. Like, does it look comfortable? Does it look like it's gonna be weird when I put it down? Does it look like an ornament? Does that matter? Some people like the remotes to look kind of nice and neat or cool looking. I know Chromecast, when you flip it over, it just looks like an ornament there. Looks like a wafer. I told Next Level, don't eat the damn wafer.
Don't eat the damn thing.
So that was a long 1 minute, but that's my 2 cents.
So yeah, I agree with a lot of the things that you said. So if I had to run through that, how would I even look at it? So some of those devices that you mentioned had official applications. I know that we talked about if they had Android TV, there's a good chance they may not have Netflix, but we've said multiple times that Netflix is kind of the service that we don't really care about anymore. Disney Plus is the king, and people can argue that all they want, but we don't care.
We don't care.
Don't care. Go get your own damn podcast. I don't know.
We don't care about your feelings, damn it.
So you want me to pick a device out of all that, or how would I pick a device? Okay, so
how would you pick out of that lineup? What is it that you're looking for?
Oh man, that's hard. That is hard.
Like, what matters to you at that point?
So I want to be able to hardwire it for sure. If we're going box, I want to be able to hardwire it. If I'm not hardwiring it, I want to make sure that it has decent speeds and connections. If it's not running, were all these running official Android TV?
I think they all are.
They all are?
Yeah. One of them might not. I don't know. But does that matter to you?
If they're not running official Android TV, I found that some boxes, for instance, like some of the 10X boxes, they have issues with navigations with certain applications. So it can dictate what kind of remote that you use because you might need an air mouse. So yes and no, right? With the official Android TV devices, I find that the navigation throughout the applications are pretty standard. So that's where it kind of differs for me. You know what? I'm going to say a voice assistant matters to me. Even though I don't use it often, when I use it, I like it. I want to know if I want to know what the weather is. I want to be able just to say it, and I get it. So that does matter to me, even though I don't use it often. I think that as time goes on, at least for myself, as I progress and I get to my next level, I hope that my next level looks like some more smart devices, and I hope that my entertainment devices that I spend a lot of time with interacts with that. So I think that is very important for me as well. The remotes, they do make a difference because of the voice assistant. I want that voice assistant button on the remote. If I could have it as a hands-free like the Cube, then for sure, why not? But that kind of limits me to the GTV. I think the TiVo has it. I think they all have a voice remote button, don't they?
Yeah.
They pretty much do.
They all pretty much do. Yeah, they're all using the Android remote or the Google remote.
Yeah, so if you're not a huge Netflix person, because I'm not, then they're all pretty much on a very similar playing field. They're very, very similar. However, I think that some of the devices actually do offer better Wi-Fi than some of the other ones. When you hardwire them, it might be pretty similar, but the Wi-Fi tends to be better on devices like the GTV and the TiVos and the actual licensed devices than the ones that aren't necessarily licensed, right?
So what are you looking for then when it comes to the Wi-Fi? Because you won't know. The average person wouldn't really know until they plugged it in. So since you know a little bit more on that, what exactly are you looking for? Are you looking for 2x2 MIMO? Are you looking for like what is that you're looking for at
So
that point?
if you see anything that doesn't have the dual bands, like if you see 2.4 gigahertz, I wouldn't even touch that. Let's like, to be honest, I wouldn't even touch 2.4. It's got to have both 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. It's got to have a minimum of one MIMO, because there are devices on the market that only have one MIMO, not two.
So what's the MIMO? What's the difference between one?
What is it? Multi-input, multi-output connection. Man, I would have to do a little bit more research in regards to how to explain it better. But
Mhm.
it's a newer technology in regards to network connectivity. And
So is
how
the MIMO is the MIMO the same thing as dual band?
No, not that I'm aware. I could be wrong, but no, because as far as I understand it, it's how it connects to the actual router, like how many points of connections that it has. But like I said, I'll have to do more reading. I just know that the more MIMO you got, if you got dual MIMO, you got better Wi-Fi. If you got single MIMO, then it's still good, but you might find a little bit better performance if you go to the dual MIMO.
Yeah. So there you go. So look for either dual Wi-Fi or some sort of MIMO, either 1x1 or 2x2.
Mm-hmm.
You want to look for either dual band Wi-Fi or some sort of MIMO. That's when you know you have something really, really
Now,
good.
the other thing that I wanted to point out is I want to make sure that they also have the USB 3.0s.
There you go. Yeah, I forgot about that.
On most devices, you're going to find at least one port that's a 2.0. And that's usually what I say is for your accessories, like your mice and your keyboards, because you don't need a 3.0.
Mhm.
You want to have the 3.0s on there if you're connecting a USB device. So you get those fast speeds. You don't have issues with buffering or, waiting around or slowness with speeds. You want to make sure that it has 3.0 USBs. I think that's very important. Some devices now are coming with USB-C, and I think it's great. So hopefully we see more of that.
Yeah. Cool. Now, this is the part of the show that people are going to be like, but.
Rohan.
I got to go Rohan level now. Okay, here we go. It's a long explosions. A lot of I've done these videos in the past, and I actually stopped doing these videos in the past, and I don't know if we should do that. Should be a whole separate episode of why I stopped doing certain things. But you got Gear Best and you got Bangoods, and I used to do videos for both of those companies. Then I decided to, yeah, decided for a lot of reasons. Maybe we'll do a whole separate video talking about why I no longer do them anymore. Because I did this about maybe a summer or 2 summers ago, where I said, "Hey, big announcement. What do you guys think?" And yeah, then I started getting really, really picky with what I reviewed. So I'm gonna look at Gear Best, and I'll go ahead and we'll share this thing so that way people could see exactly what we're talking about, Willis. So this is it. And you know what? I'm gonna go to their homepage so you can see. They try to make it feel like an Amazon thing, and you're just like, how the hell do I find their stuff? How do I get into the Android TV? So this is one of the reasons why I hate their website so much, and Bangoods is even worse. So if I go here to, and this doesn't make sense, computers, tablets, and office, TV boxes in there.
Can't you also find it under consumer electronics? No, you can't.
No.
Huh? I thought it was there for a second. Never mind.
And you know what? It actually makes sense to put it in consumer electronics. Or why not just call it electronics? I don't know. They just have too much crap in here. But for some reason, TV box is under computer, tablets, and office.
It's because they group it together with those mini PCs.
Some, yes, but I guess. So the ones that they have here is B-Link, MeCool, Magic C, Tanix, A95, and AlphaWise. So people say like, hey, I went on their website and I find a box that was like $20 and it has like 5 petabytes of storage with 80 gigs of RAM. I'll be like, what the freak? Are you serious? Really? So I'm going to just click on TV box. And please don't do this, guys. Please don't go here and buy just because we're showing you guys on this stuff. But here it is. You know, you'll find your MeCool, your KM2. You'll find some pretty decent devices out here. And I think here's your MeCool. So they do have your H96 devices. They do have the X96. They do have Magic C. So what is it that we're looking for? Because one of the biggest things here, one of the biggest attractions is going to be this flash sale. And they're going to show a price. See, this one doesn't say flash sale. This is the Mi Stick, the Xiaomi. So they got all these flash sales. They have flash sales just about on everything. Here you go. Here's a stick that for her $210.
Yeah, but that's actually like a PC.
Yeah.
Not a good PC, but it's a PC.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You got to be careful with what you're getting because some of this stuff they'll be like, dude, look, you can get a computer for $200. Hold on. Just hold on. Don't do it. The one thing I do like here is if you want to be very specific, Logic chipsets are really, really good. They do have the ARM Cortex A53. I don't know why it's listed here with this, but whatever. A lot of this stuff is a little bit deceiving because you're just like, wait, CPU, Logic, S912, S905X, S905.
Why is there a separate category for CPU and a separate category for processor?
They're trying to confuse you.
And
that's what I'm saying.
That's not even the latest stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Be careful. So we're trying to help. We're trying to help the people.
Okay. I thought you were just trying to make me frustrated.
No. Look, 32 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of RAM.
No, ROM. That's the internal memory.
Oh, my bad. 8 gigs of RAM. Yeah. I was like,
wait
a minute.
Click on that. I want to see that. Click on that.
8 gigs of RAM?
Yeah, I want to see. What is this?
So you got the H96 Max. It's using the Rock chip. Rock chip back in the day they used to overheat, not so much anymore. The X88 Pro, the HK1, T95 Plus. The T95s aren't bad.
Now, click on any one of them because anything with 8 gigs of RAM right now, I'm calling BS that it's DDR3 because it's impossible. I don't see how they're going to be coming out with DDR4 at 8 gigs of RAM.
This is 4 gigs. Okay, so this is 8 gigs.
Yeah. Click on anyone, doesn't matter. Let's go down to the specs here.
Do you see it anywhere? And that's kind of hard to see. So you get your chipset, 64-bit Cortex A55.
No, I don't see it here.
Flash says, okay, no. So they don't really tell you what that
it says
RAM.
SDRAM DDR4 4G. I don't believe it. I don't believe what is it? What is 4G? I don't know. There's
4 gigs?
I don't know. I just feel like there's misinformation that things are written incorrectly and people can end up buying the wrong thing.
Yeah,
it says RAM running DDR4. It actually says DDR4.
Android 11, DDR4, RAM is 8 and 4 gigs.
I don't know, man. I'd have to get one of these to test it out because I don't believe that they're giving you 8 gigs of RAM at DDR4.
Now, if you guys do, like here's the thing. You guys got to be very careful. Like, this is the stuff that we run into. You got to be very careful when you do get a device like this because you're just like, dude, DDR4, 8 gigs of RAM. Look at this, 64 gigs. I'm good right here. And I spent $100.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
So this is what I would do. If you guys do fall into this trap, get an app called IDA64 and it will tell you all the specs on this thing. This is the HK1R box. I've seen. So this is what I've seen. I've gotten some projectors that I've actually not reviewed, and I've actually gotten some projectors that I did review that were like, cool, this thing works really, really good. It does this, it does this. It says this amount of lumens, and normally I don't really go too detailed into the lumens. I just kind of read what the box says, and this is what you get. But once I started to test out, I have a projector downstairs that's like 4,000 lumens, and I had another projector that was 6,000 lumens. The 4,000 lumens works better because the 6,000 lumens is fake 6,000. It's not really 6,000. That's why you got to be careful. And I know a lot of us are learning. So this is how we do it. Look, I put in 8 gigs of RAM, and supposedly if I click on, you notice how it has the price, $73. This is telling me that that if I click on this should be my 8 gigs of RAM. But when I do click on this, look, 4 gigs. You see how I did that? So if I say no, I wanted the 8 gigs of RAM. I didn't want 4 gigs. 8 gigs of RAM. As soon as I do that, the price jumps up. So they do that a little bit to clickbait you a little bit. So you got to be just careful. 8 gigs of RAM of DDR4, if that was true, that would be awesome. 0 customer reviews. That's a red flag for me.
Yeah. So I pulled up one of these boxes really quickly on like a third-party website that was doing a review. And on their review, they're saying it's DDR3.
Yeah, see? Do your research. Do your research. And you didn't even think it was DDR3.
No, I know it. I was pretty certain it was DDR3. Because for that price to get 8 gigs of DDR4 RAM, I don't know. I'm just skeptical.
If you're here on the website, because the thing is that they have good devices here, like the Mi Cool. Mi Cool is there. They have the Mi Box. That one's there. I personally like the H96. Some of these ones are pretty good. $34 for this price is kind of like, okay, but why? Oh, HD TV 6 months.
That's a subscription. That's a service.
Now they're selling a subscription for $16. See, this will be a red flag for me. I'll be like, no, let me just not do that. And some of it has already built in 1 year. See, I would be very leery with some of this stuff because we've seen some boxes that would go there, and yeah. I would not personally. I wouldn't go to GearBest or Banggood and buy any of these sticks. I played with one stick that worked really, really good. And then it exploded on me.
I'm not even. Nope.
I deleted that video after it did that. And I was going to do another video talking about it. I think I did a live show talking about it, saying like I had this thing. It was working amazing. And it literally like I saw a thing of smoke. It was like, it went like a pop. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And then my screen went black. I'm just like, did my TV just die? I was like, oh, hell no. And then there's a smoke of puff that started coming up behind the TV. I grabbed my fire extinguisher because I'm just like, dude, my TV just exploded. And then I went to move the TV forward and I see I see the stick went from a red to an orange to a black. That thing got so hot. It freaking turned colors, you know? And I grabbed some gloves, grabbed that thing, threw that thing outside, and then I called these guys saying, "Hey, dude, what the frick you guys just sent me?" But I did a live show on it, and I talked about it. I didn't do a dedicated video because I'm just like, I don't want to do a dedicated video on this thing. So what are you looking forward for? Hey, I remember these little colorful guys. Mm-hmm. What are you looking forward for when you go to GearBest, not Banggood, GearBest, and you're seeing these devices?
So personally, when I look on these sites, I'm looking for the either the S922 chipsets or the S905X4s. Those are the twos that I'm generally looking for. I'm not a huge fan nothing wrong with them. It's just personal preference. With the all winners and the rock chips, I've just always been M Logic. Now you've reviewed lots of boxes from all winner and rock chip recently, and there's nothing wrong with them. Just personally, I've stuck with what I've always used, and that's the M Logic chips. So that's generally what when I go on GearBest, that's what I look for. And the latest ones is the S90 S905X4, right? Is that it?
I think so. S905X4, but this is the S905X, S905W, S905, S912.
Go in the search and type in S905X4, and that should pull up.
It'll be here. This is everything that they have available.
I can search it and I can pull it up.
On here, on Bangoods?
I'm on Gear.
Or GearBest, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just type in the chip and it pulls up everything with that chip in it. S905X4. Yeah, so these ones have that chip in it specifically. So these are solid chips, and it's got a pretty good range. You can get them for $60 all the way up to 150 if you wanted to.
All the me cools. Yeah, all the me cools pretty much.
And then the S922s.
0 reviews, Android 10. It says S905X4, Google certified. See, there you go. Dual Wi-Fi.
Now the X3s are still pretty good, but the X4s are just coming in right now. So you're going to start to see more and more of those devices coming out. But if you want to see, the last gen, then you can go X3s. They're still great devices. There's not a big improvement over X3 and X4. But if you're looking for the latest, I look at the X4s. And then the other ones.
So as you can see, we're just doing the research here. Me Cool were the better devices that they have here. Everything
the
else,
latest chipset right now.
Yeah, everything else. Back then, these H96s were good. Back then, I think that's it. The T95s weren't bad either back then. The HK1s wasn't that bad back then. Alpha Wise wasn't bad back then. Back then, and I'm talking about like 2 or 3 years ago. I haven't touched some of these devices in quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
They're not that bad back then. Now, there's a lot of better options out there.
Yeah.
So, okay.
But then if you move into the S922X lineup, you're going to get a lot of the B-Links. And you're going to see some of the B-Links are actually coming with Wi-Fi 6. So you're kind of future.
But B-Link is not in GearBest.
Yeah.
You see it in GearBest?
Yeah.
Where is it?
That's the only place I bought my B-Links from.
In GearBest?
Yeah.
Hold on. It wasn't Bangoods?
I've never used Bangoods. Never. I don't know.
Which device? Yeah, you're right. B-Link is in GearBest. Which device? There's a device that they don't have it on. I forget which one it is, but maybe it's not B-Link.
I'm not sure. But if you scroll up a little bit, the one that right here for Wi-Fi 6, the one for $140, great bang for your buck. You're getting great specs. You're getting the S922X, which is the top of the line performance CPU from M Logic. Wi-Fi 6, so it's compatible if you upgrade your Wi-Fi routers. It's a pretty good device.
Yeah.
For $140, that's not bad.
Now I'm over here looking on the side.
I find that these sorting options are so outdated that I don't even use them.
Yeah, they're horrible.
That's why I just use the search bar and I type in things like the chipset or the company or something.
It's horrible. Here we go. Brands. So here's B-Link, Me Cool.
I've had one of those boxes. I wasn't overly impressed with it, but it was a really, really cheap one.
Okay, let's move on to Bangoods.
I've never used Bangoods, so I'm going to learn something here.
You're about to learn. All right. So same concept goes with what you did in GearBest to Bangoods. So let me go to their website. their homepage.
GG, good game.
And again, they try to give you that Amazon feel with just loads, just so much crap. This is the worst part for me when it comes to this website. When I'm here and I'm like, okay, health and protection. Look at this. Look how much categories all this crap is in. So if you're just like, where the hell do I find? For me, if I'm looking for a streaming box, electronics. Look at that list. So I'm like, okay, let me look at the categories. Home and audio and video. This is where I would find it. TV boxes. So there you go.
Okay.
It's just chaos. Like their website is just chaos. So this is how I get to all their stuff. The
I
only
don't mind the navigation of these websites, so I don't mind them too much. I find that if you were to go to Amazon, it's almost like you have to work a little bit harder to fine tune it because you're looking at pictures versus the text. So you're scrolling a little bit more just to get to the fine tuned category that you want. Versus this, you got to go through a couple text drop downs and you find what you want. Like to me, it's not too terrible, but
it's pretty bad. To me, it's pretty bad. I'm like, what the okay, so you got your B links here, you got your Meet Cool. Here for brands, they're only showing that they have 3, but that's definitely not true. They got the HK1, the Roblox, the Max, the X88 King, the H96, HK. So it's very similar to what GearBest has. But then they'll start coming up with some of these weird looking devices. Here's this dongle looking thing for $23. Don't do it. Someone's gonna be like, ooh, don't do it. Don't touch their sticks. Don't touch these dongle things. Don't do it.
Don't touch their sticks or anybody else's stick.
No. So from here, what do you do? You said that you would go, and you know what? Maybe I'll try this.
Usually I just type in the chipset that I want right in there. That's usually what I do.
So what's the chipset?
S905X4, let's say.
S905X4. And Meet Cools are coming up. You get this stick. Oh, it's a Meet Cool stick. And then there's this A95X. A95X. I've never heard of this one. A95X.
That has some reviews.
4. This one has the most reviews, 10 reviews. I want a US plug. So it's $52. 5 pieces were sold, ends in 4 days. So they got a deal out. It's interesting. You got that light. You got all the stuff that I would look for in the back. Yeah.
USB 3.
So it's not too bad. So what do the reviews say here?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Different languages, of course. Best product, fast ship, recommended. I don't speak that. So it looks like everyone's giving it some good stars, you know?
Yeah, some good reviews. Good bang for your buck. I think this was a $52 box. Good buy. Again,
so just
if you're not looking for Netflix and 4K and Disney Plus and all that stuff, then these boxes will be great, especially if you pair them with Real to Brit, All to Brit, or Premiumize.
Yeah. So this box here looks good. Like, and remember how we started? I was kind of like, I don't know about this guy.
But I only recommend venturing out to these cheaper boxes if you're somebody that likes to change launchers, because you're not always going to get a good launcher. Somebody who likes to use mice and keyboards sometimes, because a lot of people who use boxes like this like to use mice and keyboards. The remotes that come with them can be pretty crappy. Does it show the remote?
Nope. I'm looking at specs. So 32 gigs of 30. So it's 32 by 4.
Yeah.
Precise details. Give me precise details. Type, CPU, GPU, RAM.
Ah, look, this is not gigabit LAN.
I don't know what kind of RAM this is. It just says 4 gigs.
But this is only 100 megabytes. That's not 1 gigabit on the wired connection. That's not bad.
See?
You can still get decent streaming, but it's nice to get that 1 gig.
Yeah. So it's 100. Yeah. See, so for me, I want that 1 gig. If I see the 100, I'm like, I might move forward.
For sure.
Unless your internet's really, really good, you don't have internet problems, then cool. But yeah, I'm kind of bummed that it doesn't say what type of RAM it is, if it's outdated or newer. So, but it does show it has the newer chipset, which is what you were looking for. So
Yeah.
it's one of those devices that I would lean towards and try it out just because of that.
Right.
And see how it works. So look up. I guess the way to navigate within these Chinese websites, and you're looking at Chinese boxes, GearBest, Banggood, stuff like that. Know what the latest chipset is, and if you're just like, well, and I know we try to educate a lot of you guys. We try to say like, hey, this is what the specs are. This is what's currently out there. This is like, you really should know. Unless you're getting, again, like when it comes to the Shield, when it comes to Amazon devices, when it comes to MeCool, when it comes to B-Link, Buzz TV, Formula, when it comes to those devices, most of the time, all of those devices will have the latest stuff that's out there. TiVo, Chromecast, on all those devices, all the latest and greatest. This last part, when I was showing the website, that's how you look up your stuff. You should know if you're there and you're just like, oh my gosh, this box is like $2 and it has 128 gigs of internal memory and it has 10 gigs of RAM. Dude, that's killer. I have plenty of storage, plenty of power, plenty of everything. And then you get it and it's running I don't know.
It's not running.
A chipset from like 5 years ago, DDR1, Yeah. So when you see something like that where it's too good to be true,
it probably is.
Probably is. It probably is too good to be true. So just do your research. Sometimes it does suck, but it's your hard work money. So,
and keep in mind, it's not like you order this and it shows up the next day.
Right.
There is advantages of ordering things locally versus, these websites. Sometimes it can look like a great deal, but you can end up waiting a month. Sometimes you can get hit with customs depending on what it is and where it's coming from too, right? You ever had one of those?
Yep. Yeah. So just be careful. Just be careful when it comes. I know, actually, and you know what? Now that I think about it, GearBest and Banggood have warehouses in the States now.
Yes, now they do. But back when I was ordering it 3-4 years ago, they didn't.
No. And I want to say maybe about 3 years ago was when they started to put out a couple warehouses out here.
Right.
And if they had it here, great. And if not, they had to ship it from out there, like depending on what warehouse you had it. So yeah, just do your research before you invest in your hard work money, because it's your hard working money that you're investing something in. Even if it is $10, you're getting something, being excited that you're going to plug it in, you're going to be able to watch something. So just know that.
Just throwing it out there. The reason I stopped ordering from those kind of sites is because the value locally is insane. Like you can get Firesticks, GTVs, TiVos, all these devices for under $100, and they're licensed and they work great. Why am I going to spend, $60, $70, $80, $100, wait for a month, and it can't play anything licensed? Let's say sometimes you can struggle. It's going to have a launcher that could be an issue. It might not come with a decent remote. Its voice search functions or voice assistant functions may not be up to par, because I've tried a lot of voice searches on some of those boxes, and it can be some flaming hoops that you have to jump through to make them work.
Yeah.
So to me, I'd rather just spend a few dollars more or sometimes less and just get the local devices.
And see, these streaming devices have come a long way now, where back then you would have to go to these websites to get something like this, to be like, ooh, I can get this box and I'm not spending so much money. And yeah, the Firesticks are okay, but I can get something with a lot more this and this. But like you said, now now there's so many options. You got so many competing companies now that are in the market, like big companies now, and they're not. They're some of them are cheaper than those, and you're getting some good stuff. You know.
I'd probably go to those websites if I was looking for like a mini PC. I think that they would have a better mini PC option than like Amazon would.
Oh, I've gotten a couple mini PCs from them, and
Garbage. Yeah. I don't know.
straight up trash. I'm just the last product I got from one of these guys, I really want to save this for a show. Like I really want to save this for a show.
All right, so save it.
Okay. I'll save it for an episode. I'll save it for an episode.
So you're gonna have to look forward to another episode if you're wanting to find out about his mini PC escapades.
And not just the mini PC, like why, you know what will be really good? Doing an episode of why we review certain things and how we review certain things. Pretty much why and how we do certain things on our channels.
Okay.
And maybe some of the good and bad experiences we've had with products and companies.
Okay.
He might actually speak beyond the BS this time.
Beyond the BS.
All right. Anything you got to say before we get the hell out of here?
Oh man, I'm so hungry. I can't believe it's 2:00 and I haven't eaten yet. Anyways, we are in season 2 of the Beyond the Streams podcast. So many good episodes coming out, so many good people, companies, creators, all coming onto the podcast and just giving their perspectives to you guys. Keep up the good work, giving us those thumbs up, those likes, those comments, and make sure you drop those reviews on wherever you're listening to us on the audio side. It helps listeners like yourself find the podcast and stay up to date with all the stuff that we have coming out. Make sure that you come out on Thursdays at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and kick it with our live show on YouTube over on the Beyond the Streams YouTube channel.
Awesome. Yeah. And make sure you guys leave us comments, reviews, all that crap, share with a friend, and stay tuned to the next episode because you never know who's going to be here. Check the links below. We got some good deals with Buzz TV.
Oh my God.
All right, guys. Have a good one. Peace out.